Okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are so grateful that you have taken the time to join us. My name is Dr. Buffy Donahoo. I am a naturopathic doctor and I'm board certified in complementary and alternative health. And it's my pleasure to start off and welcome you and just say thank you. We're going to introduce you to something that is revolutionary in redox signaling. I'm joined here by my two very special colleagues, Dr. Ed De Los Reyes, who is an anesthesiologist, pediatrician, and pain management specialist, and Debbie Wetzler, who I like to lovingly say that she has a PhD in this because she trains a lot of our doctors and scientists who come on board, and she was instrumental in training myself and I believe Dr. Ed as well. So we're very, very grateful, and it's a very special time that I get to share with both of them. So, Dr. Ed, I know you have people that dial in from around the world as well. So, if you'd like to welcome your guests as well, then we can get started.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Buffy. Welcome back. We missed you, and you left us for so many weeks, but you're back again here. But to all my friends who are in the Philippines, especially from Manila to Luzon, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And to my friends in the South, from the Visayas to Mindanao, maayong bundag sa inyong tanan. For us here in the U.S., we are celebrating this July 4th week that we are doing here. And we welcome you all for this fantastic overview of redox signaling molecules and the Q&A that we always do on a Wednesday night. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much. So here we are. If you would like to take a screenshot of this, you are welcome to come back next week. We do this every week on a Wednesday. And if this is something that interests you, to bring your friends back, because a lot of you may be first timers, but a lot of the rest of you, you have come back and you have brought friends and guests and colleagues because you feel that this is valuable and so important that they need to learn as well. So thank you again for coming. And we are sharing with you the world's first and only cell signaling supplement. It is backed by 7 patents and over 8,000 trade secrets. And our core technology comes in beverage form. So you're going to be hearing us talk about that in the different ways that we're going to utilize this product. And what we like to do is start with by saying what ASEA Redox is not, because you are more than likely not familiar with it. It is not a vitamin or mineral supplement. It is not an antioxidant, nor an exotic juice, essential oil, or CBD oil. Now, those are wonderful things, but this goes way, way, way beyond nutrition and way beyond any of that. It is not about ingredients at all, yet it impacts your health at a depth that no other supplement has ever reached. So it helps your body to better absorb all of those good things. And it is the cellular communication, cell to cell communication in the body. And it is a bio replenishment. It basically restores something that our body used to make in abundance as we were younger, and we produce less and less of it as we age. So if you're looking at the babies down at the bottom right, they're producing redox molecules in abundance, which is why they have tremendous energy. Children tend to heal a lot faster. And when we are on the other end of our life, or even in the middle, we repair a lot slower, and we have a lot more sluggishness in our body. And as we externally present ourselves to the world, our energy, our healing, our natural capacities reduce. And so what are redox molecules? Well, to start off with, if you recognize that redox molecules are produced in the mitochondria, and the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So that takes the food that we eat and it turns it into energy. But it also throws off something called reductants and oxidants. You may or may not be familiar with that term. If you are, you know what that is. If you're not, that's where we get the word redox, the RED from reductants and the OX from oxidants. Combined, that's a contraction, so that comes to redox. And redox signaling molecules, they are foundational to our health. Just as foundational as it is for you to have electricity plugged into your home, or your appliances don't work without that. So they're foundational for our healthy body. And when we have, in our trillions and trillions of cells that make up our tissues and our organs and our systems, when we are healthy, when those cells are healthy, we are healthy. But the fact of the matter is that we have so many cells that are not healthy and they are out of balance. And it appears that our immune system is, say, on vacation. Well, we can wake that up, much the same as if we have two cell phones and there's miscommunication, we are not going to hear that conversation and we can't communicate effectively. So, how does this work? Well, you can see a college textbook on the left. This is being taught in major universities, most universities and colleges and medical centers. And what this is it starts with pristine salt water, which is the same. Our cells make redox molecules from the salt and water in our cells. It's broken down and then it is restructured into stabilized redox signaling molecules. Most people don't want to know more than that, but if you are scientifically minded, that is going to really pique your interest. So redox signaling replenishes your body. It works at the root cause, not just the band-aid. And so this is cellular communication, which helps your cells to detect, protect, repair, and replace themselves. And what I'd like you to ask yourself is, what issues might you or a loved one be facing? Because redox signaling molecules, more in your body would help your body to do better repair, detection, protection, and replacement. And they regulate every major system in the body. You can see the systems here, but what I want you to look at, let's just focus on just one, the immune system. We all know people who have an underactive, sluggish immune system. We all know people who have an overactive immune system, and it's doing things in the opposite way and attacking our bodies. Well, you can see that scale there in the bottom. It's out of balance. We want the body to be in balance. And redox molecules helps your body to get back into balance and an order of operation for your body. So much like when we all learned mathematics, we had to learn what numbers were, what order they came in, addition and subtraction, before we could do calculus. Well, your body has to do things in the right order. And so we also have to be patient with the repair process because we don't know what needs to be repaired first, but your body does. It's brilliant. Now, you may be wondering, why haven't I heard about this? Where can I go learn about this? Please take a screenshot of this page. You can go to the National Library of Medicine, NIH, which is at pubmed.gov. PubMed stands for medical publication. And you can also go to Google Scholar. And for either one of these, now Google Scholar is different than Google. Google is a search engine. It's not a research engine, but Google Scholar is. So in both of these sites, you can type in redox signaling molecules or redox signaling, and then say a medical term or a disease name that you are interested in. And you can see a lot of the studies that have been done and that are ongoing. And there are more updated numbers and data on this. So this is a little bit older, but you will find tremendous amounts of research if you are looking for more research. So what did they do? Well, they started with the beverage, as I said, and you can see me holding up the bottle here. And so we drink this twice a day. This replenishes our body in the bioreplenishment. What they found was that people were spraying it on their body in every nook and cranny and orifice they could get to because it was helping. It was helping reduce discomfort. It was helping regenerate skin, rejuvenate body, all areas of the body that we need support in, they were spraying it. So what ASEA did was they stabilized it into a topical gel form. This is made from the beverage. It is called Renew 28. This does increase skin cell turnover by 16%. There's incredible stats on this for improving our just anything that is out of balance in our skin, whether that's wrinkles, whether that is something that we might have been bitten from, or we have a diseased, we have a state in the body that is out of balance. Okay, so anyway, this is incredible, and this is called Renew 28, and we can put it anywhere on or in the body, but we just don't want to put it in the eyes. So you can see here what they say is a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So you can see all across the board here, age spots, wrinkles and tightening and firmness. And you can see abnormal skin growth that just fell off in the gentleman on the bottom left that was on his eye. You can see an inflammatory issue on the top in the middle, where this situation typically starts in the gut. And it is an imbalance. It is an immune function dysregulation that happens to present itself on the skin. So, this beautiful lady was drinking the molecules inside and applying this topically. And you can see how that itchy, scaly, very, very uncomfortable rash disappeared and faded away. And in the bottom, you can see hormonal changes from that young man there. And then the top right, you can see a very, very that hurts. What's in that heel, that hurts. I've had that before, and you can see the resolution on that. But one of my favorites is Dr. Marty Morin on the right. He's a research scientist, veterinarian, and he knows that both sides of his face are the same age. So he decided he was going to test this on himself, and he applied it to just one side of his face. And you can see how it plumped it up. It smoothed it out. And you probably know people just as well as I do that are paying for a lot of very harmful injections to their bodies that do that same thing. Well, our products are all non-toxic and completely safe for the body. So you can see what happened on just one side of his face. And what you're going to see here is that, yes, what I did say is that redox molecules do diminish every year. And I want you to pay attention to this graphic because when we are younger, we have, let's say, for instance, a full glass. We are completely full of redox molecules and producing them well. When we're in our 50s, we're only producing at a rate of, say, 50%. When we're in our 60s to 70s, we're only producing at a rate of, say, 10%. So that's why the bioreplenishment works so well. And so what I want you to see here is Rosie. She's one of our favorites. This is not a typo. This is not mother and daughter. This is Rosie reverse aging and getting healthier. She was 84 on the left. She's 91 on the right. And what you're witnessing is she replenished her redox molecules and her body started to restore itself from the inside out and from the outside in because she was putting this age reversal topical gel on, which helps the cells to rejuvenate, and she was drinking it from the inside out as well. But the most important thing from me as a naturopath is to recognize that what we see on the outside is an outward representation of the state of the body on the inside. So imagine if you're looking at her heart on the left or kidneys or brain on the left, and then you see the youthfulness and the perkiness and then the vibrancy and how it just came back to life. This is what the body does on the inside as well. So then what ASEA did was they came out with our next generation of topical gel, which is called Redox Gold. And this contains 24 karat elemental gold. This targets inflammation. Renew 28 is broad spectrum and it works on the entire body. We put it on and it helps the whole body to wake up. It's like playing an entire piano keyboard all at once, the entire song. Redox Gold is like playing one key on the piano, and that is the inflammatory pathway. So we put this, we rate an area of discomfort, and then we rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. You can see in that image there. And then we shake up the tube and we rub it on as a massage gel, and we rub it in so that the Redox Gold, the gold gets into the tissue and helps to reduce that inflammation. And you can see thermographic imaging. If you don't know what thermographic imaging is, think of using night vision goggles to look at animals running through the forest. You're seeing the heat signature. So here we're seeing inflammation in this imaging, which is the purples and the reds and the oranges. And then after 15 minutes, you can see the rapid relief where you see the grays and the cool blues and the greens, where that inflammation was dramatically reduced. And so now what I'm going to do is I am going to turn this presentation back over to Debbie Wetzler, and she is going to take us through this next portion. And Debbie, thank you so much.
Sure. If you can stop sharing, I'll share mine.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. And yes, if we can ask people. So let me get so when I was first introduced to this, as Buffy said, it was 16 years ago. So I've been trained by a lot of very special scientists and doctors. But the first one I was trained by was a very good friend of mine. I had never heard of redox signaling molecules. And the only person I could think of that might have known something at the time, because I didn't realize at the time that also that doctors studied this. And so I took it. I called a girlfriend of mine. She happened to be a molecular biologist who had graduated from Johns Hopkins. She worked at the National Institute of Health in the mental division, overseeing research and doing research herself. So I drove to her house that night and I said, I've never heard of this, and I need to know if this is true. And if it is, could you teach me a little bit more about it? Because we really can't say too much about this. And so she took one look and almost fell off her chair. She said, Debbie, I have been studying these molecules for 17 years. We've had scientists and doctors from around the world come and try to do this. And you're telling me that somebody was finally able to make and stabilize these molecules outside the human body in a bioactive form? And when I said yes, she said, you have no idea how massive this is. This will change the medical field as you know it. And so, as we say, this company just tapped into a science that already existed. We already made redox molecules, but they were able to make and stabilize them. And so she pulled a big, thick textbook off her shelf that night, and she opened it up, and every page was about redox. And she went on to teach me where they were made again, what they did. And she said, not only will you have amazing results in the body, but you're also going to have amazing results since these molecules are so tiny, they cross the blood-brain barrier. And so you're going to have all kinds of results with all kinds of mental issues. And she named them, but things like forgetting things, or not being born with the right connections in your brain, or injury, or focusing, or any of the things that affect you mentally. You're also going to have amazing results, because that's what these molecules are meant to do, go everywhere in your body. And so at that point, athletes were calling ASEA and saying, what is this stuff? We're running further, faster, longer, stronger. So ASEA thought, well, let's do an athletic study. So they took it to the University of North Carolina Research Institute, gave it to Dr. David Neiman. He had to first verify for himself that these were redox signaling molecules, and he had a $500 million magnetic spectrometer nuclear, machine that was $500 million. And he put it in that and did confirm that it was redox signaling molecules. So he started giving it to the athletes before they ever performed anything. And to his astonishment, within 20 minutes, they had gone into fatty acid metabolism. Now they were burning the fatty acids around their abdomen and their organs, leaving the glycogen in their muscle and brain where it was needed. And so mice ran 29% longer for no reason. So did the athletes. They had that much more endurance. It also raised the VO2 levels. That's the volume of oxygen before you hit the wall, by about 12%, which is huge for athletes, because steroids give you maybe 3%, and they're totally illegal. And then it helped them recover so much faster. So we had marathoners that weren't even getting sore the next day sometimes, as long as they used the product before and after the race and the event. We also took this so that the Olympians could use it to WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, to show that there was absolutely no banned substances. How could there be if we make this in our body? But we have that proof also. And so, because the Olympians are tested for drugs all the time. And so we've had 2 gold medal Olympians on it. We've got Dexter Yates, who started working out when she was 70 and became the world Ironman champion in her age group, and is still running them in her 80s. We had the man that picked up the strongest man that picked up the heaviest dead weight of anybody in the world, Eddie Hall. We've had Sean Burke, who's gotten on it, and he runs triathletes also, and he's gotten faster and faster every year, and now he's 65. Well, athletes don't do that normally. They usually get slower and slower. So all kinds of good things for people. We all are athletes in our own way, because we need endurance throughout the day. So we have lots of science that Buffy and I and Dr. Ed just don't really go into necessarily, because most people don't care about the science. They want to know, is this safe and will it work? And I can guarantee both of those. It is completely safe. We've done millions of dollars worth of safety studies. We've never had anyone have a bad reaction, unless it was a detox, but that's a good reaction. And we've never been sued in this 17 years that we've been around. This is just completely safe and really good for you. But I will go in to just a couple of these, just very briefly, because they're very easily understandable. They're not very real scientific. The first one was Tourette Labs. They used to do all the testing for ancestry. And so we took it there because we wanted to know if these molecules had anything to do with turning back on the genetic pathways again, because a lot of times they will shut down as you get older and for gene expression. And so they gave it to 35-year-old men and women who were completely healthy. And after 8 weeks of taking it, they gave half of them ASEA, they gave the other half salt water, and they gave 10 of them nothing as a baseline. And so after 8 weeks, they found that this greatly upregulated a lot of gene expressions, but 5 of them majorly. And those were in the areas of the immune system, inflammatory response, cardiovascular and arterial elasticity, healthy digestive and gut enzymes, and hormone modulation. And those regulated a lot of other pathways, such as the EGR1. And just so you can see some of the things that the EGR1 modifies and gets into, serotonin, so that you're happy when you're on this product instead of being down, circadian rhythm, so that you sleep really well and deeply. The NRF2 pathway, which Buffy talked about several times, that's inflammation and having you produce more glutathione in order to take away the inflammation and do all good things for your body. Human thyroid stimulation, human insulin signaling. This completely can balance your blood sugar levels. Ovarian infertility. And I did just interview a woman, and she told 2 other women who hadn't been able to conceive until they started taking ASEA, which is wonderful. Sudden infant death syndrome and spinal cord injury. And then just recently, we did the Aspen Lab study, and this was major. And we've got the white papers and the studies on this. And the summary is that we produce the IL-1 beta, which is like the fire alarm in your body. It triggers inflammation and activates immune cells. It causes a fever. It helps the body to fight off threats. But if you produce too much of it, it can be bad. And so what they found is that taking ASEA for 120 days reduced that by 89%, 89.6%. And that means you're lowering your stress levels, which who doesn't need that? And stress is what causes most of the disease levels in your body. So after you've been on it for 120 days, it left the participants more prepared to respond to infection or bacterial, viral, or parasitic stressors. So ASEA is very good in so many different ways for your body, because it is part of your body. Just to show you how large this science is that we tapped into, these are just a few of the universities that have opened redox research centers in order to study more about it. And then we've had societies, many societies, that have changed their name to include redox because it is such a huge area of science at this point that many people are studying. We've had World Redox Congresses every year for years, 20, almost 30 years at this point. They're usually in Paris. Last year they were in Washington, D.C. Scientists and doctors from around the world come and fly in to study what new things they are discovering about redox. But when I think doctors first started paying real attention was when Dr. James Watson of Watson and Crick, who discovered the double helix of DNA and won the Nobel Prize, started working with redox signaling molecules. To his amazement, he said, "I think we've misdiagnosed every disease. If we had enough redox molecules, we would never have disease." And he published an article in the Lancet Medical Journal stating that type 2 diabetes, cancer, and brain disorders are the lack of redox signaling molecules. So if you want to stay healthy and young, I would suggest putting these back into your body. As Buffy mentioned already, we all do research. And if you want to do real research, don't just go to Google, go to the National Library of Medicine, pubmed.gov. Again, if you just type in redox, there's 500,000 peer-reviewed studies. using redox signaling molecules. And we've had verification that we're redox from so many different institutes and universities. And then you can also go to scholar.google, where there's 2.7 million articles about redox signaling molecules. So if you are a doctor, you need to learn about this, because you'll be behind if you're not learning about this. And that's what I tell all doctors. You studied this in medical school, but now we've stabilized it. Most doctors don't know that. If you want a more deeper dive into the science, Dr. Hoffman does this same kind of Ask the Doctor webinar on Tuesday nights on this very same Zoom. Dr. David Silverman does two of them on very early on Monday morning and Eastern time, and then 11 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday. He doesn't really do a presentation, but he will talk about redox, answer questions about it, and kind of tell you what to expect and how to use it. And then we also have on Thursday nights another kind of these are doctors interviewing other doctors about redox. And for that, you go to discoverasea.com. We have several discovers. And that's every Thursday night. And that's an amazing resource also. And lastly, I could just say that I chose to share this with people. I saw what this did for my mother, who had so many different health issues, and she got completely healthy after 88 years old drinking this, because it allowed her body to heal itself. So I just couldn't keep it to myself. Some people don't want to ever share it, but we'd love to have you learn about this, get all your questions answered, and join us in helping the world to learn about this, because we can't make medical claims, but we can tell people privately what we've seen happen. And so with that, we've had so many people with so many different weird stuff happening to them in the medical arena that these molecules don't care. They just know they're damaged and they go there and fix them. They don't care what doctors call them. Cancer, MS, Parkinson's, whatever. These molecules don't care. They just go and help the body fix it. So we're going to take questions now, and I will stop sharing. And there was a lady that contacted me earlier today, and do you wanted to go ahead and say what it is, Dr. Ed, and we can stop the recording, I guess, too.